The year is 1942. World War II has been raging for 3 long and grueling years. The world is engulfed in a conflict of unprecedented scale and ferocity. The shadow of conflict stretches across the globe, touching every continent and affecting millions of lives. No corner of the world is left untouched by the devastation. From the icy plains of Eastern Europe, where soldiers battle in freezing conditions, to the scorching deserts of North Africa, where the heat is as much an enemy as the opposing forces, battles rage on relentlessly. Millions of soldiers, from diverse backgrounds and nations, clash in a life-or-death struggle. Each day brings new challenges and new sacrifices. The fate of entire nations hangs in the balance, with the future of the world at stake. The outcome of this war will determine the course of history. By 1942, the Axis powers, led by Germany, Italy, and Japan, seemed unstoppable. Their military might and strategic prowess had brought them numerous victories. Germany had conquered much of Europe, crushing its enemies with its blitzkrieg tactics, lightning-fast attacks that left little time for defense. Cities fell, and nations crumbled under the relentless assault. Japan, after its surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, controlled a vast swathe of the Pacific. Their naval and air forces dominated the region, posing a significant threat to Allied forces. The Allied powers, led by Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union, were on the defensive. They faced a formidable enemy and were forced to regroup and strategize to turn the tide of the war. The year 1942 would prove to be a pivotal year in the Second World War. It was a year that would see significant turning points and decisive battles. It was a year of brutal battles, technological advancements, and strategic shifts. Innovations in weaponry and tactics would play a crucial role in the outcomes of key confrontations. The events of 1942 would determine the course of the war and shape the world for decades to come. The decisions made and the battles fought during this year would have lasting repercussions. From the ruins of Stalingrad, where one of the bloodiest battles in history took place, to the depths of the Pacific Ocean, where naval battles raged, 1942 witnessed some of the most decisive confrontations in human history. This is the story of 1942, a year that marked a turning point in the Second World War. It was a year of immense struggle and profound change. It is a story of courage, sacrifice, and the indomitable human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. The bravery and resilience of those who lived through this year continue to inspire us today. On the home front, civilians played a crucial role in supporting the war effort. From rationing and working in factories to volunteering and providing aid, their contributions were invaluable. The impact of 1942 was felt around the world, and its legacy continues to shape our present and future. The lessons learned and the sacrifices made during this year remind us of the cost of war and the value of peace. As we look back on this pivotal year, we honor the memory of those who fought and those who fell. Their stories are a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit. Amidst the darkness of war, there was also hope and resilience. Communities came together to rebuild and to support one another, demonstrating that even in the darkest times, humanity can find a way to endure and to thrive. The story of 1942 is not just a tale of war, it is a lesson for future generations. It teaches us about the importance of unity, the strength of the human spirit, and the enduring quest for peace. The Eastern Front was a theater of unimaginable brutality. It was a place where the very essence of human endurance and the limits of human suffering were tested to their extremes. The vast frozen landscapes of the Soviet Union became the backdrop for some of the most intense and devastating battles of World War II. It was here, in the vast expanse of the Soviet Union, that the Wehrmacht, Germany's formidable war machine, faced its greatest test. The German forces, confident in their blitzkrieg tactics, were met with fierce resistance from the Soviet Red Army. The clash of these two titanic forces would shape the course of the war and the fate of millions. The Battle of Stalingrad, fought from August 1942 to February 1943, became a symbol of the resilience of the human spirit and the horrors of total war. This battle was not just a military confrontation, it was a brutal struggle for survival, a testament to the willpower and determination of those who fought and endured. The city of Stalingrad, situated on the banks of the Volga River, held strategic importance for both sides. Controlling Stalingrad meant controlling the vital supply routes and the gateway to the oil-rich Caucasus region. The city's location made it a critical target for the German advance and a crucial point of defense for the Soviets. For Hitler, it was a prize to be captured at all costs, a symbol of Soviet resistance to be crushed. He believed that taking Stalingrad would break the Soviet Union's will to fight and pave the way for German domination in the East. The city's fall would be a significant propaganda victory, bolstering the morale of the German people and the Wehrmacht. For Stalin, it was a city that bore his name, a place where he would make his stand. The defense of Stalingrad became a matter of personal pride and national survival. Stalin ordered that the city be held at all costs, and the Soviet people responded with unwavering resolve. The battle for Stalingrad became a symbol of Soviet defiance and determination. Soldier. The battle began with a relentless German bombardment that reduced Stalingrad to rubble. The initial assault was devastating, with waves of artillery and airstrikes obliterating buildings and infrastructure. The city's once bustling streets were transformed into a landscape of destruction and chaos. The Luftwaffe, Germany's air force, pounded the city day and night, turning buildings into infernos and streets into death traps. The constant bombardment created a hellish environment, with fires raging uncontrollably and smoke choking the air. Civilians and soldiers alike were caught in the relentless onslaught, struggling to survive amidst the ruins. The fighting was house to house, street to street, often hand to hand. The urban warfare in Stalingrad was brutal and unforgiving, with both sides engaging in close-quarters combat. Soldiers fought for control of every building, every room, and every corner, turning the city into a labyrinth of death and destruction. Every inch of ground was contested with a ferocity rarely seen in warfare. The battle lines shifted constantly, with gains measured in mere meters. The determination and desperation of the combatants led to some of the most intense and savage fighting of the war. The Soviet soldiers, many of them poorly equipped but determined to defend their homeland, fought with incredible tenacity. Despite facing overwhelming odds and suffering heavy casualties, they refused to yield. Their courage and resilience became a defining feature of the Battle of Stalingrad. They turned every ruin, every sewer, every bombed-out building into a fortress. The Soviets used the city's destruction to their advantage, creating defensive positions in the rubble. Snipers, machine gunners, and infantrymen utilized the chaotic urban landscape to launch ambushes and counterattacks, making the German advance slow and costly. The Germans, despite their superior firepower and training, found themselves bogged down in a brutal war of attrition. The initial momentum of the German offensive was gradually worn down by the tenacious Soviet defense. The harsh winter, supply shortages, and relentless Soviet counterattacks further sapped the strength of the German forces, leading to a grueling and protracted struggle. While the Battle of Stalingrad raged in the east, a different kind of battle took place in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. This was not a battle fought in the trenches or on the ground, but one that would be waged across the open seas and in the skies above. The Battle of Midway, fought from June 4th to 7th, 1942, was a decisive naval battle that marked a turning point in the Pacific War. It was a confrontation that would change the course of history, altering the balance of power in the Pacific. The battle was not just a clash of ships and planes, but a test of strategy, intelligence, and sheer willpower. The Battle of Midway shattered Japan's illusion of invincibility and put the United States firmly on the offensive. It was a momentous event that demonstrated the importance of air power in modern naval warfare. American dive bombers, with their precision and bravery, played a crucial role in this historic battle. General, the battle was a clash of titans, a duel between the aircraft carriers of the Imperial Japanese Navy and the United States Navy. Both sides knew that the outcome of this battle would have far-reaching consequences. The Japanese, emboldened by their early successes, sought to lure the American fleet into a trap and deliver a knockout blow. They believed that by eliminating the American carriers, they could secure their dominance in the Pacific. The Japanese meticulously planned their attack, confident in their ability to outmaneuver and outfight the American forces. However, they underestimated the resolve and ingenuity of their adversaries. The Americans, however, had a secret weapon: their code breakers. By intercepting and decoding Japanese messages, they gained crucial insights into their enemies' plans. This intelligence allowed the United States to anticipate and counter the Japanese strategy. The battle was fought primarily in the air, with dive bombers and torpedo planes playing a decisive role. These aircraft, piloted by brave and skilled aviators, engaged in fierce dogfights and daring attacks on enemy ships. American pilots, despite being outnumbered, displayed incredible skill and courage. Their relentless attacks resulted in the sinking of 4 Japanese aircraft carriers, a blow from which the Japanese Navy would never fully recover. The Japanese, caught off guard and outmaneuvered, suffered a devastating defeat. Their once formidable fleet was left in disarray, and their plans for further expansion in the Pacific were thwarted. Midway was a turning point in the Pacific War. It marked the beginning of a shift in momentum, with the United States taking the initiative and moving from a defensive to an offensive strategy. The battle crippled Japan's ability to wage offensive war and gave the United States the initiative. The loss of 4 carriers, along with their experienced pilots and crew, was a blow from which Japan would struggle to recover. The vast distances of the Pacific, which had once seemed like an insurmountable obstacle, now became a battleground where the United States could bring its industrial might to bear. The American Navy, bolstered by new ships and planes, began to push back the Japanese forces, island by island, reclaiming territory and moving ever closer to Japan itself. The Battle of Midway was not just a military victory, but a testament to the resilience and determination of the American forces. It showcased the importance of intelligence, strategy, and the indomitable spirit of those who fought in the skies and on the seas. Today, the Battle of Midway is remembered as a pivotal moment in World War II, a battle that changed the course of history and demonstrated the power of courage and ingenuity in the face of overwhelming odds. The deserts of North Africa witnessed a different kind of warfare, a back-and-forth struggle for control of vital supply lines and strategic positions. The Battle of El Alamein, fought in Egypt in October 1942, was a decisive victory for the Allies and marked the turning point of the campaign in North Africa. Historian: the battle was fought between the British 8th Army, commanded by General Bernard Montgomery, and the Axis forces, led by the legendary German Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox. The two armies clashed in a series of armoured battles across the desolate landscape, the outcome of which would determine the fate of Egypt and the Suez Canal. The British, bolstered by reinforcements and new tanks like the American-built Sherman, launched a massive offensive against the entrenched Axis positions. The fighting was fierce, with tanks, artillery and infantry locked in a deadly embrace. The desert air was thick with the smell of cordite and the roar of engines. After several days of intense fighting, the British broke through the Axis lines, forcing Rommel's forces into a retreat. El Alamein marked the end of Axis hopes of capturing Egypt and gaining control of the vital oil fields of the Middle East. It also signaled the beginning of the end for Axis power in North Africa.